Deafrowe with Deafrowe closed caption, and I'm back again for another review in this Halloween season. And to get this Halloween season kicked off, I want to show you one of my favorite horror comedies made in my home state of Alabama called Hide and Creep, made in 2004 by none other than the directors, I should say, Chuck Hartzell and Chance Shirley. Writer Chance Shirley, stars Chuck Hartzell, Michael Shelton, Kyle Holman, and I guess I'm what I'm assuming is a host of friends and family that decided to be in this movie because I can't tell you the last time I've seen a movie made in Alabama where the accents actually sounded like they were from Alabama. If you ever want to see what a real accent from Alabama sounds like, this is the movie you need to watch. Hide and Creep. It's not as thick as these Hollywood junkets think it is. But anyway, let's get going on Hide and Creep. Which starts off, it tells you the residents of a small southern town contend with bloodthirsty zombies, a mysterious flying saucer, and a bad television reception. Because you're in the middle of nowhere. Supposedly Thorsbury, Alabama. So let's get going on this, shall we? It starts off with good old Chuck here inside the rental store. He's talking to a guy about different zombie movies he's trying to pick out. More specifically, he wants a American zombie movie. And of course, he tells him over the phone the only ones that are good are Romero's. Most of them are filmed in Pennsylvania that I'm aware of. Until you get to Land of the Dead, where he films that in Canada for some reason. Anyway, this kid, he talks to the guy. The guy's like, "Hey, I'm wanting this American movie because there's zombies that are starting to come up." And he's like, "Yeah, I don't want your business anymore, guy." Closes the phone up on him. Then we cut to the guy who was just abducted by UFOs and maybe probed. And he's waking up in the woods butt naked. Just a fair warning, you will see some wedding tackle in this movie. So let's go and skip on past that, shall we? I'll take a chance. And I don't want to get this channel blocked on YouTube. Anyway, now we're into the Hunt Club. And they're talking about the Spice Channel he was able to get put out there by DirecTV. And of course, they got that generator off away so they don't mess with the reception or the sound quality. And then they're of course they're watching it. Then of course the channel goes out, and somebody has to go out and check the generator because you know what's going on. So he goes out there to check the generator. Oh, look, the cord's broke. Let's go back a little bit. I'll show you a little. Yeah, there you go. The cord's broke, and of course he turns around and there's somebody to attack him. Fast forward the next day. Old Chuck is, I guess he fell asleep at the store that night and wakes up in the floor. The customer banging on the door wanting to return, but he can't return it because all this stuff is being stuffed in the box. Hollywood, the new Sodom and Gomorrah. I've actually never seen these before, but it doesn't surprise me either. You go to enough places in the middle of nowhere, they'll stuff your boxes full of whatever they can. Ugh. Anyway, let's keep going here. And of course, he goes back in the store, gives the customer a video. Here's something in the back, and there's a zombie. And he's trying to eat him, or trying to bite him. Either way, same difference. Of course, he knocks the zombie over the head with a VCR that has Night of the Living Dead in it. And I thought that was a pretty good shot right there. Night of the Living Dead popped out of the VCR just all of a sudden. But anyway, let's keep going, shall we? So then he's like, oh, here's the preacher at this church. And the girl walks in, pretty much takes all the chairs because, she thinks she owns the place or whatever. And he's like, whatever, take them. Anyway, let's move it on. Old Chuck calls the, police department. And, of course, there's only But I think her name is Barbara, you know, because we're going to make some Night of the Living Dead references here. And she answers the phone. She tells him, hey, the cops are not here. You have to call back on Monday, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, I got it. He's trying to tell her he's got a dead body, so she doesn't listen. So he's just like, okay. He's like telling him, like, yeah, there's somebody that tried to break in and knocked him in the head with a VCR, and he's dead. I need to do something about this. And she just, like, hangs up on him. And, of course, they're out in the woods trying to find the dude that went missing while trying to fix the generator. And they come up on some missing shoes. They're like, well, what's going on here? So then we go, oh, zombies are eating their friend here. And he's like, hand me that gun. And then they realize they walked out there in the woods without a gun. So then they gotta race back to the Hunt Club cabin. Because he decides to take matters into his own hands. It brings the body up to the police department, just drops it off at the in front of the desk, and she's completely unaware that what he just did. The dead guy, call Chuck. And he's like, I want to go get something to eat. And then he gives this whole rant on Pepsi versus Coke, which is pretty funny in my opinion, because Pepsi is not Coke. I don't care what anybody tries to sell you. Of course, butt naked dude walking around with just barely his shirt covering his wedding tackle there. Dude stops and is like, hey, you want a BJ? And I'm like, no, not really. No, I want to give you one. I'm like, no thanks. It's just a weird part right here. I'm just like out of the blue. And we go back to the preacher and some drug addict dude coming in there like, hey, blah blah blah. And then like he leaves, and all of a sudden there's zombies everywhere in the church, and he's trying to get out of there. All right, back to Barbara here, and she's like, I got a dead body in here. I need to call the on-call deputy. Calls him, and he's like in Florida somewhere. So she calls her ex-boyfriend, which used to be the deputy, but is no longer the deputy now. But I guess he at least knows how to do the job somewhat. So he's coming. And out of the blue, this dude with a supposedly the military drops out of the blue with a parachute, which is funny. And he's like, hey, I'm here to cover up this incident that's happening. I need to borrow your car, and just holds her at gunpoint and takes the car. Then he gets the cell phone. He's talking to Barbara, and then they're going back and forth. Now we gotta get back over there. He figures out that Barbara's car has been taken. And of course, the naked dude is at the cemetery because he finds his pants there. Oh, dude ain't gonna let him take off with the pants. Because the pants are evidence. And then, of course, they show up and they're like, hey, you're the person that took my ex-girlfriend's car. What's going on here? Like, and then the guy explains to him, yeah, the dead are coming back to life and all this other stuff. And then as they're talking on the cell phone, Barbara's talking to them at the cabin or whatever, and they're like, how do we kill these things? We keep shooting them, and they keep coming. I'd like shoot them, and the government guy tells them shoot them in the head, so they start shooting them in the head. Hey, it's working. Then they kind of just hang up. Right at the moment that the government guy's like, hey, don't let them bite you, because it's contagious. So that one zombie that was left in the office with her comes back to life, and then she's trying to get her gun out and get some bullets and kill him. And she gets him with the dart first. And they're at the cemetery, and then all of a sudden the cemetery is covered with zombies, cover the car and everything else, so they can't get to the car, so they decide to take Chuck's truck to get back to the police station. And of course, the three guys out there, they killed all the ones that were attacking the cabin. But the old dude right here, in the camouflage and orange right there, he been bit on the neck. So they don't know. But see, they hung up the phone before they could realize, that the government dude was telling them, don't let anybody bite you. So they don't know. So let's keep going. Chuck gets back to the police station, whatever. The back of the police station, I'm guessing. And of course, they're trying to figure out what's going on. The government dude's acting like an asshole. And then the government dude just shoots the tires. And then as he's turned around, hold on. Let's go back here. Government dude, come on. Where are you? Yeah, government dude shoots the tires, and that he's standing there at the truck when the zombies comes out of the back of the truck and bites him on the neck, kills him. Well, they can kill him right away. She has to walk up and, shoot him in the head so he doesn't come back. So, he's been shot. He's been shot. He's been bit on the hand, so he's freaking out, wondering what to do. She's trying to get all the blood off of her. Pretty nice shot there, by the way. And then he's making fun of all these pamphlets that he found on the government guy. It was like, in case of a nuclear attack, in case of this, in case of this, in case of that. And then one of them just happens to be the zombie one. Old dude finally got some pants on. Old Chuck went out to the truck and got a beer and came back in. Like, I ain't going out there to look for nobody. I just went out there to get my beer. And so this dude decides he's going to bury all the zombies he just killed in the church. Blah, blah, blah. So they're running through the woods trying to go there. Well, they're going back to get her car from the graveyard. Well, old dude from the cabin, he finally makes it to his house with his friends, and they are trying to gather up their ammo and everything. His two daughters are there. So, and then he's stuck at the police station because he decided, like, well, somebody's got to stay behind and answer the phone, so he basically volunteers just to stay behind. He finds a TV and hooks it up so he can listen to the football game. Because that's what we do in Alabama. We always, doesn't matter what's going on, we got to watch the damn football game. Alabama or Auburn, doesn't matter. And of course, they're going into downtown. Well, when I say downtown, it's a very small town. But if you're talking about Thorsby, to figure out what's going on, see if anything's happening there, and they figured out, they go down to the little restaurant called the Firehouse, and there's nothing but zombies in there, and they're trying to get out of there. And an old girl right here that took all the chairs, preacher goes to meet her and takes a bite out of her. And of course, Chuck decides to call because this guy's on the news and he's taking up time from the game, he calls him and explains everything that's going on. Like, hey man, now that you know everything that's going on, put it back on the damn game. And then moving on. Well, of course, let's keep going. And then, of course, we get to there. There's talking to a bunch of people at the bar. I had to skip through that because of obvious reasons. And they come back out, and the old dude he's freaking out because he realizes that he's been bit. So he's gradually turning, and he don't want his friends to shoot him. So he takes over, or tries to take over. And he finally gets the upper hand and kills him. And they're finally getting close to the graveyard, and he finds the front tag to his missing Mustang. Never mind that his girlfriend's also missing, but his Mustang's missing. 64.5 Mustang that I was been all my life restoring. Many times I've heard that from people I actually know. And of course we get to here. They're in the grocery store trying to get stuff together. And everybody, the price keeps going up on everything because everything's an emergency now. Like $5 milk and $5 bread. Milk and bread, milk and bread. Bread and milk, bread and milk. And of course, there's people guarding the store with guns and everything. Alright, so I have to skip a little bit too much over this one, but this is like a strip joint or whatever, and he has to go in there because he's looking for his friend. But I think after this encounter, he decides to kind of like give up and go back to his house. So let's try to skip through there. They're back to the graveyard when they're trying to get the car back, and old dude that finally got his pants back goes nuts because he lost his car, gets pissed off and starts running into the zombies and shooting them, and then decides to beat one in the head. And while he's beating the one in the head, all of them grab him pretty much. Let's see what we're right about. Yeah. And of course they gotta have one zombie that looks like the brother from Night of the Living Dead, which I thought was pretty funny. And they get the car, old Pontiac Grand Prix. That's got to be a Southern thing. I don't know what it is with Southern folks that thought the Pontiac Grand Prix was the best damn car there ever was. I just find it hilarious that they put that one in there, just that one, that Grand Prix. Anybody that owned a Grand Prix back then, they had to tell you that it was a damn Grand Prix. It's just a Pontiac. Anyway, he beats up with the preacher. The preacher's freaking out still. He's walking around drinking booze and shit because he's just killed that one lady that was, bitch to him. And so the preacher's like, hey, I need to go back to my congregation and talk to my congregation or whatever. And of course, he left the door open at the police station. This kid comes in and just tries to eat his bullets. He takes care of him, obviously. So they're going down the road. He's trying to get back to the house. They hit some zombies that messes up the Pontiac Grand Prix. And they have to take off running through the woods again. Now he makes it back to the old church here. And these old churches that you see like this, where it's like one big room, they're all over Alabama. And most of them, people can use them for the events and stuff. They're not, for the most part, most of them are not even used for church because they don't have any air conditioner, or some of them don't. Some of them were upgraded, but for the most part, people use them for events, or some people like to use them for weddings and that kind of stuff. Because there's really, if a church grows, they can't really use these small churches anymore. The small, places like what this guy is in right now. And so he's up there. He's just preaching away, talking about the zombies and stuff. And all of a sudden the zombie just pops up and he got a gun. He goes nuts, of course. And of course they finally make it out of the woods, and they make it to the neighborhood where old dude lives, the hunter dude. I don't know why I can't remember the names. Anyways, because he left his daughters back at the house, and they've boarded up the house pretty much, and like shooting all the zombies that are coming near the property. And she's a pretty damn good shot, taking them all down. And of course, she lets them in because she knows who they are. Give it a machete. Anyway, an old dude shows back up, and he's like, well, I lost my friends, but we need you to get out of here. And so all of them pack up into his Jeep. Well, they start to go pack up into his Jeep Cherokee until, if you don't remember the dude with the without the pants, whatever, that was left by the UFO, because he was probed. He was out on a date with his girlfriend in his Mustang, and she was, taken away as well. And she all of a sudden is dumped in the jacuzzi or whatever that is that he has out back. Naked, of course. They get her a towel, get her clothes, and they all get in the Jeep and try to get the hell out of there. So they're going down the road, and the little girl sitting in the big girl's in the lap in the front seat. She's like, "I'm hungry, Daddy. I'm hungry, Daddy." And he's like, "I know, baby. We'll just wait. We got to get somewhere first before we can eat." And then then finally she just bites down on his hand like she's infected. And of course, that's how the movie ends. They swerve a little bit, and then he drives off the edge of the screen. And that's the end of the movie, pretty much, where Chuck is still stuck at the police station, just hanging out. He decides, "I'm getting the hell out of here," and just leaves to go off on his own, do his own thing. End of the movie. Now, is this one of those? This is one of those horror comedies that I can get behind because it was made here in Alabama. I recognize some of the places and some of the scenery. It almost anywhere in Alabama you can almost see any of that kind of stuff. So it's kind of funny to see this. I get most of the humor because I understand what he's talking about most of the time. So I have to give this movie a 3.5. I would normally only give it a 3, but because I give it a whole 0.5 just for being made in Alabama, I gotta support your local. So, without further ado, that is a zombie movie / comedy called Hide and Creep, made in 2004. And get this, there is a sequel called For a Few Zombies More. I'll let you guys figure out where you can find that one. I believe you could actually watch both of them on Tubi. So once you're done with Hide and Creep, you can go and watch For a Few Zombies More on the same channel, Tubi, well, the same Tubi app. And you watch them back to back. And For a Few Zombies More takes place like 10 years later. And continues the story with Chuck and a couple other main characters that you saw in the first one with Hide and Creep. So, give it a watch. I liked both of them, to be honest with you, but I'm only going to do a review on this first one because, for the most part, I own this first one on DVD. I've been having a hard time trying to find For a Few Zombies More on Blu-ray or DVD, any format really. Amazon seems to be sold out all the time, or it's currently unavailable. You can buy it streaming on Amazon for, I think, $6.99 or $7.99. Not quite sure the last time I looked. And that way you can watch it without the commercials. But I just like having the physical media that's just the way I am. So, and only way I was able to get this Hide and Creep movie, was I actually bought it from a rental store that was closing. So I was able to get a DVD copy from the rental store. I'm kind of glad I did because I didn't know when I bought it that it was made here in Alabama, close to, I'll say, if it was actually filmed in Thorsby, it was a little bit north of Clanton, and if some of the stuff in the second movie was taking place in Birmingham, which is to the, I want to say, the east of Thorsby. So, without further ado, that's me, and that's this review of Hide and Creep 2004. I'll see you on the other side of another review. That's Deafrowe. Out.